Hello and welcome. This is Anastasia, your astrologer, here to offer readings and answers to the questions you have. Welcome to today's live. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know where you're joining from. And if you have any questions today, I'll be happy to answer them and provide you with guidance. Let's give it a couple of minutes to let people to join. Julia, hello, hello. I feel like I don't see you here on Monday nights usually. You're more my Wednesday morning person. Am I imagining it? No, I think you're usually here in the mornings more often. Hi Simona Vatau 1022. Good to see you guys. So the way today works is I am offering donation-based readings. I can answer any questions you have, astrological questions you have. They can be connected to your natal chart, to your romantic life, your karmic potential, your challenges, gifts, strengths, anything that I may see that if you're just curious to hear what your chart, what kind of message it's delivering to me. We can also talk about the future, the transits coming up, and discuss the eclipses that are coming up in August, which is a big deal. Anything you're really interested in, I am happy to answer and to provide some guidance. So the way this works is number one, I ask for a donation. Suggested amount is $35. You can send the donation via the links in the description or links in the pinned comment. Those are the same links. Once you send the donation, I will need your date, time, place of birth, and your question. Please limit it to one question at a time per person, because these are shorter readings. And then once you send the donation, I already said that the donation first, suggested amount is 35, and then the information in the question. And then once you have that ready, you have two options. Number one, you can allow me to share your chart, and in that case, just drop your birthday information and your question in the chat, share it publicly, and allow me to share your chart on my screen. If you wanted to stay private, you can email me your birthday information and your question via the email provided in the description, and specify that you want your chart information to stay private. Julia says, hi, I'm always working 24/7, LOL, but I still go home and work, less phone time. Well, yeah, maybe I feel like we have looked at your chart in the past, or like I'm familiar with your Venus in Libra, Mars in Capricorn, Libra rising chart, right? So you must have been here in the evening. What do you do for work, Julia? What is the work that keeps you so busy? Julia says Libra Venus. Yeah, Gogo Pogo says it's not working. What is not working, Gogo Pogo? And D Oliviera 9 says love the hair. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I feel like it got a little bit confused in the back because I was flipping. I had to like do some crazy things with my hands. And I think when I do that, I lose the track a little bit. And then sometimes the braid ends up all like flipped upside down and all the things. Julia says, I'm a graphic designer, freelancer, spiritual reader, and advisor. That sounds like a lot of work that you're doing at the same time. Do you have days that you just do specifically spiritual advising versus the graphic designer work? And going to grad school. Oh my God. Yeah, that would do it. That would be very much working all the time. What is your sun? Scorpio? Is it Scorpio in the second house, maybe? But I'm not sure. So if you're just joining, let me know where you're joining from. I am doing readings. My list is currently open. To get on the list, I ask for a donation first and foremost. Suggested amount is 35. To honor my time, to honor my knowledge, once you send the donation, the links are in the description. Please use those links. I will need your date, time, place of birth, and your question. And once you are you have your information, you send the donation, you can specify whether you want your chart shared publicly. In that way, I will just put it on my screen and you'll be able to see what is it that I'm doing. Kind of like, you'll be able to see how I analyze your chart as I go. And you can also email me your information and say that you want your chart to stay private. And in that case, I would not put your chart on the screen. But for that, one thing that is happening today is there is a Moon Mercury opposition. So if there is something I'm saying that you want clarification on during a reading or other than in a reading, please let me know, because Moon Mercury opposition can suggest sort of miscommunications, misunderstandings. But yes, to get a reading, number one, send the donation, have your information ready, prioritize one question at a time, and then either put it in the chat or email me and specify, is it okay to share your chart or not? Okay. Julia says, I'm on call as a spiritual advisor or special advisor? Spiritual, right? I'm like, what is a special advisor? I want to be a special advisor. And then you're saying, thank you for asking. One other thing, if you're watching and you get shown a commercial, please refresh, because sometimes the commercial can set you back. And then the goal of the live is to be talking to you live. So just make sure that you are live with me. So I have the first person just donated. Let me see if I have your information. So I got a donation from Carrie. Carrie, are you here? And again, if you want your information to stay private, please email me. Email is in the description. It is also the name of my channel. So basically, Anastasia _astrology@gmail.com. And you can send your info there and specify that you want your chart to stay private, or put it in the chat and specify that it's okay to share. That is always helpful too. Let me get the list started. So right now we have one person on the list. If you wanted to jump on and be next, you can be the second person in line. So pretty quick. Carrie, okay, awesome. See you and your information. Thank you so much. Just need your question. As mentioned, please prioritize one question at a time. And also, happy belated birthday. How exciting. My Leo friend's birthday is today too, which is fun. I have 11th house. My 11th house is Leo, so I feel like I like Leo energy a lot, as especially like in friends and friendships. Okay, Carrie says, wanted to know about career. Are you thinking of changing careers? Are you trying to figure out what's going on in the existing career? And also, is it okay to share your chart? Okay, Carrie says it's okay to share, and saying wanted to know about career. Yeah, if you could specify just sort of a little bit, are you curious about like the existing career? Are you curious about changing careers? And it's okay if it's both, because we might end up talking about, okay, you're saying been trying to build a career as an author. So, Carrie, I have Virgo Sun and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other planets, Leo Moon and Scorpio Rising. Is that correct? Is that your chart? So let me know if I got all of your information correct, just to make sure that that there's not like something that's incorrect. Sounds right to me. Okay. Carrie says that it is correct. Hi, Pooja Daswani saying new subscriber L5. What does L5 mean? Level 5, new subscriber, level 5. Thank you so much for being a new subscriber. Really appreciate new subscribers. I also have memberships on my channel now. So if you wanted to become a member, you can do that. Oh, you're saying like number 5? Okay, Carrie. So Carrie is wondering about career. So it's interesting. There are a couple of things that are significant and going on in your chart. But before we even like look at the transits, let's just look at a couple of things. First of all, you have Neptune on the ascendant. Neptune is the planet of dreams. It's the planet of imagination and ideals. It can also sometimes drag us into the land of deception and delusion. And sometimes Neptune on the ascendant probably makes you very much like you're reading the moods of other people. You're deeply sensitive, and you're also born right at the precipice of the new moon. So you may be someone who like takes on a lot of energy from other people and needs to like detach and get away from people once in a while. There is potentially very sort of strong energy there. Even with your South Node in Libra, North Node in Aries, there's also this kind of sense that like you may lose yourself in relationships, right? With like South Node and Libra in the 12th house, sort of what are our self-defeating, self-undoing tendencies, and South Node there is like the voices of others, the relationships, the concerns about other people is something you're learning to disengage from. And what's interesting is you're learning to go in the direction of taking risks and following your dreams. And North Node in Aries is all about being a pioneer and a trailblazer. And because you're born so close to the new moon, there's also a little bit of an energy of like being a late bloomer, I think, especially with you're in the balsamic lunar phase, but it's so close to the new moon that it's almost like you're in the new moon lunar phase as when you were born. But there's some kind of energy of like, you know, there's past karma that you need to deal with. There's maybe hard work that you had to do early in life with Saturn in the 6th of like dealing with health issues, other people's concerns, being the person who like provides care and facilitates things. And look at all of this Virgo. This is like a powerhouse of someone who's very helpful. Even having the moon in the 10th house and Mars in the 10th house as your chart ruler, like being, but midheaven more than anything speaks about career. And like, do you have a career that is healing and helpful to others? Do you find yourself in a position of supporting others and helping others? Because this is just so, it just talks so loudly about that. And if you're just joining us, I am doing birth chart readings. These are donation based. Suggested amount for the donation is $35. To get on the list, please send the donation via the links provided in the description. And then I will need your date, time, place of birth, and your question. One question per reading, please. And you can either share your information publicly in the chat, or you can email me. The email is also in the description, and specify that you're looking to keep your information private. So as far as becoming an author, I like that. I think I like that a lot for you. You have a very strong Mercury. And Carrie says, support family all the time. Was a homeschool mom of 5, have moved on to parents. So you were supporting, I guess you were schooling 5 kids, and now you're supporting your parents. Yeah, and it's interesting too because you were born with Saturn in Aries. It is your second Saturn return that you're going through. What was your first Saturn return like back between 96 and 99? Were there any maybe like increase in responsibility, changes around health, changes around work that maybe are making themselves known again? I mean, you're really good. I'm sure you're really good in the position of like helper and healer, but there's probably with your two planets in Leo, there's also a strong desire to shine and be visible. And so I think with Neptune on the ascendant, being an author, you're probably already someone who's like a great storyteller. And the ruler of your chart is Mars in Leo at the top of your chart in the 10th house. This is a very, like you have, yes, you have this like, one second. You have like humble energy to you with Virgo, but you also have Mars in Leo and Moon in Leo. So you're probably someone who can be a performer. You can put on a show. You can be, even though, again, I think that sort of new moon suggests that you need to manage your energy carefully. And the same would go for a Neptune in the first house. But you're probably someone who can be like big and bold and dramatic in terms of self-expression, in terms of your career. And we have, so it's your second Saturn return, which as mentioned will be bringing up questions or similar themes to 96 into 99. You're saying you were a singer in a band for many years. Okay. There is your performer energy because Mars in Leo is the placement that Beyonce has, and she knows how to put on a show. And she's a Virgo, right? She's a Virgo sun, but Mars in Leo, and she's very much someone who like knows how to draw attention, knows how to make people stop and stare. But there's a lot of focus on career in your life. The ruler of your chart is Mars in the 10th. So it suggests that career, being visible, being independent is really important to you. With Mars in the 10th, it's also often suggestion of someone who can be an entrepreneur, someone who can like wants independence professionally. And again, with your North Node, this is where your karmic path wants you to go. It wants you to go into that direction and to shine. And Jupiter is currently in Leo and the sun is in Leo. And all of that is asking all these questions of like, what is your story? Where is your light? How can you shine it better? But it's kind of a contradictory dynamic we're dealing with right now, because as Jupiter is in your 10th house, the South Node has just entered your 10th house and North Node is in the 4th. So it's going to be bringing up a lot of these questions around like, what is my legacy? What is my story? But South Node is going to encourage you to let go of like what is preventing you from becoming an author? Is it worries about what people will think of you? Is it the sense that you think you have responsibilities to other people? Like, what are some of the things that you're telling yourself that are maybe holding you back? So South Node is going to be like, do it because it's fun. Jupiter says like, just express your ideas, be creative, be playful, do fun things. And there's quite a few really positive transits. Jupiter on your Mars in a couple of months, Jupiter on your Moon next year, most likely. I can look the exact dates, but there's a lot of supportive energy in terms of career. But North Node in the 4th also says maybe it's time to tell stories because maybe it's time to tell stories because your heart really like wants to tell them without worrying what people will think of them. There might also be some kind of connection between telling stories and family. Like maybe you're telling stories about your family. maybe you are looking to tell stories about your kids, or you're sort of writing stories with the thought of your kids or even like future grandchildren. Like what is the purpose of this, like, of writing, and which kind of stories are you're really passionate about, that the kind of like how, yeah, like the stories you feel passionate about, but also which ones of those stories will make the lives of your family better, maybe. I feel like I've said a lot of things. Okay, let me just look at some dates for a second. You're saying, okay, family responsibilities and marketing are some of the things that are preventing you from being an author. um yeah, those are valid considerations for sure. Um, and North Node in the fourth and Pluto in the fourth very much suggests that there is a lot of focus on the family, um, and yet Jupiter in the 10th really wants you to express that vision, express that creativity. What was happening in your life, Carrie, in 2008, 2009, in terms of family and in terms of creativity? It's not, we're not in the exact same period, but we are in a similar period, and we're also in a period similar to 2014 and 15 in terms of Jupiter being in Leo. If you're just joining us, I am doing readings for you guys in order to get on my list. I currently only have one person on the list, Carrie, and then the list is open. I am asking for a donation. Suggested amount is 35. Once you send the donation, I will need your date, time, place of birth, and your question. And you can either decide to share your information publicly and drop it in the chat, or if you wanted to stay private, you can email me. Email is also in the description, and specify that you'd like me to keep your chart information private. Okay, so I was going to look at the dates. Hi, Natinha, 14. Good to see you. I think being creative, Carrie, is like a big part of what you're meant to be doing. I think you cannot, especially with like your moon in Leo, like you need creativity, you need visibility, you need recognition. Mars in Leo has this charisma and charm and like oomph, and it really needs to be expressed. So Jupiter conjoins your Mars on August 21st. And that could be really positive in terms of taking action, in terms of reaching out to people. I would circle that date and give it 10 days before, 10 days after. Reach out to people, start projects, express yourself, be creative, because Jupiter conjunct Mars, and August looks like quite a lovely month for you. Even in September, Saturn will be trining your Mars. So there is like a nice support for your Mars. It is the transit of whatever action you take at that point is likely to result in success. And then the second important point in the Jupiter transit, or at least maybe the final kind of the wrapping up storyline, is July 11th. July 1st, July 11th, there's the Jupiter Saturn trine and Jupiter conjunct your moon. So I think it's a good year to nurture projects that you feel passionate about. But because of the North Node in the fourth, there is this sense that the best work likely has to be connected to like home and family. Either it's because you're working from home and you're finding time to do that, like in between your responsibilities, but you're still finding time, or it's because you're telling stories about your childhood, your family, your children. Maybe it's somehow connected to that, or because you have an intention of telling stories that will maybe connect with other people in similar situations. Because North Node in Aquarius is very much community oriented and very much interested in the good of others. Carrie says 2008, 2009, you were deep in homeschooling, and 2009 is when you had a stroke. I wonder what else was going on in 2008, 2009 in terms of transits, because sometimes there's a lot of things that are maybe indicating health concerns potentially. And it's never going to be exactly the same. So I don't want you to get scared and think that the same kind of period is coming up, because in 2008, 2009, Saturn was in Virgo. And so you were dealing with a lot of pressure from Saturn on top of your planets. So it's not going to be the same energy, but there may be some similar energy in terms of having to balance your work life or responsibilities with your passions, and making sure that you're not just leaning into responsibilities too heavily to a point of to a point that it affects your health or makes you take less care of yourself, because Saturn return is a major time to prioritize self-care. And it's when it's in the sixth house natally, and when it's in the sixth house like right now by transit, there's a lot of questions around wellness and taking care of yourself. And because you already have Saturn in Aries, you may have this tendency to say yes to too many things, and to be really excited about helping others, or to feel like it's your duty to help others. But boundaries are very important here. So Carrie, let me know if you have any follow-up questions. My list is open. If you'd like to get a reading, send the donation. Suggested amount is $35, and ask me a question. You can send the donation via links in the description. They're also in the chat, at the top of the chat. And once you send the donation, as mentioned, $35 is a suggested amount. I will need your date, time, place of birth, and your question. If you're okay with me sharing your chart and your information publicly, put it in the chat. If you want it to stay private, you can email me at anastasia.astrology@gmail.com and ask me to keep your info private. So yeah, Carrie, let me know if you have any follow-up questions. And I am open for the next person. I think the biggest point for you, Carrie, is that it's a really powerful time, I think, right now creatively. You're saying, how about moving my home? So technically this would be like a second area of interest. And as mentioned, I prefer, and I ask people to kind of focus on one. But since we're waiting for the next person, I can take a look just as sort of an exception. But generally, I do ask that you do one question at a time. So let me see. This is actually 2009 chart. So it is good time for changes in the family and home and living situation. We just had North Node enter your fourth house, and North Node has this exclamation mark energy. It intensifies, it increases, it draws a lot of attention, and it brings material change and tangible transformations. And so in the fourth house, it is very likely to bring kind of change you can quite tangible change. So in the next 2 years, about 2 years, we're going to be having eclipses in Aquarius. Next year, there's one, I think, February, and then there's one in the summer around August again. And then there's going to be more. So all of that is very much highlighting your fourth house of home, family, living situation, and your 10th house of public life. So it's it's bringing a lot of attention to both of those sectors and suggests that you are transforming your public life and you're experiencing these visible changes in your private life, which could suggest moving and other, like new family members, even family members passing away if someone is not doing so well, and yeah, maybe some other big change. And to see what kind of change might be coming up, again, reflect on 2008, 2009. Were you moving in 2008, 2009? So the list is open. If you'd like a reading, please send the donation. Suggested amount is $35. There's a link in the description. Use that link to send the donation, please. And then once you do, I will need your date, time, place of birth, and your question. I do ask that you prioritize one question at a time. And then once you can also choose whether to share your information publicly or to keep it private. If you're okay with me sharing your chart like I'm doing right now, you can just put your information in the chat. And if you wanted to stay private, you can email me at anastasia.astrology.com. Carrie says, so pretty much the next 2 years for these two things. Yeah, they're big the next 2 years. Not only those things, there's always multiple transits activating every sector of your chart throughout the year. But eclipses represent major shifts. They're very much like major new beginnings, major endings, and they're activating your house of career and your house of home and family. Do you remember, did you move at all in 2008, 2009, or was it just, like you said, sort of a lot of homeschooling, a lot of focus on home and family in that way? So the list is open. Let me know if you're interested. I am here to answer your questions. Send the donation. Suggested amount is $35. Once you do, I will need your date, time, place of birth, and your question. And yeah, if you're interested, let me know. I will be live kind of as long as there is interest, and might jump off sooner if it's a quieter day, which sometimes it happens. But if you'd like to ask me a question, if you have a question that's of more general nature, if it's a question about your chart that doesn't require me looking at it, you can also share it and ask me that question. And today we are in a moon day. We're dealing with the Sun-Pluto opposition today. And Sun-Pluto opposition can bring a lot of tension in your life. It can reveal the conflict between the perfect image, which the sun represents. The sun is strong in Leo. There could be all these questions around ego and dreams and identity, and Pluto being opposite the sun is bringing up questions around death and how tightly death is connected to being your true self, because you need to allow for the possibility of death, right? Just like literally knowing that you're gonna die one day, so it inspires you to do better, hopefully, or that it inspires you to live like kind of like focus on the fact that the time is limited, but also being able to welcome death as part of creative process, as part of transforming yourself and allowing outdated parts of yourself to die, especially as you become more aware of them. So the Sun-Pluto opposition today can be very much revealing to you which parts of you are obsessive, controlling, anxious, fearful, which parts of you are ready to be released, I think is a big theme today. So who will be next? Or do you have any general questions? If you'd like a reading, let me know. I am happy to stick around and pull up more charts. And if you're interested, just let me know if you're interested, or if you have questions about a specific transit for a certain rising sign, do tell me. Carrie said, I think it was 2006 when I moved. Okay, so not in 2008, 2009, but it sounds like 2008, 2009 was similar for you because it was like a lot of homeschooling, and having a stroke may have been connected maybe to like overexertion, taking care of too many things. So in that regard, even, with Saturn in the sixth really wants you to set boundaries around health and self-care and make sure you're prioritizing yourself and your wellness. And so I think the similarity is more about that versus, saying that there will be some kind of major, like, I don't expect it to bring another major health crisis. But there could be things happening in the family, and especially if there are family members that are not doing so well, all of that can be coming up. And definitely a good time to take care of yourself, like take care of your health. Even if things are good, you can never neglect your own health. Okay, I got a payment on Cash App from Nico. Thank you for the donation, Nico. I will need your date, time, place of birth, and the question. And please just make sure that you are refreshing the live as you're watching it, especially if you get shown a commercial, or just even right now, like if you're watching it, please refresh it so you are with me in real time. Because every time the commercial gets shown, the live gets shifted, and then we're not in real time, and then I'm asking you a question and you don't hear me. So just make sure to stay on top of that refresh button. Okay, Nico is next on the list. Nico, I see your information. Would you like your info to stay private? Let me know, Nico. You're welcome, Carrie. Good luck with your creative career. Don't just do it. It's so important for your chart, I think. And with Jupiter and Leo too, it's like the perfect time. Okay, so Nico, I got your info. Just let me know if you want your info to stay private or if it's okay to share it and show your chart. And also, Nico, I don't think I have your question. So if you can share the question. And if you're watching and you'd like to jump on my list, I only have one person as of right now, so you can be next. To get a reading, send the donation. Suggested amount is $35. Use the links in the description. And once you do, I will need your date, time, place of birth, and your question. Could be anything. Could be general if you want me to just look at your chart and tell you what I'm seeing. Past, present, future. Just prioritize one question at a time and let me know whether you want me to share the chart publicly or keep it private. And if you wanted to stay private and all of your information to stay private, email me at anastasia.astrology@gmail.com. The email is also in the description to this video. Okay, Nico giving me the permission to share. Nico, if you're able to respond to me in the chat instead of email, I would appreciate that. If you don't have a way to chat and email is easier for you, that is okay. Oh, you're saying you can't live chat. Okay. Okay, well, it looks like you're live, and that is what's important. So you're asking, what do you see coming up for me in August? And Nico says it's okay to share on your page. Okay. I knew that Moon Mercury opposition will give us some technical glitches, but I'm glad that we have other ways of communicating. So, um, okay, Nico, I have Sagittarius Sun, Virgo Moon, Cancer Rising for you. Is that correct? Just let me know if the info I have for you is right, and we will be all good to go. So if you're just joining me, I am doing live birth chart readings, answering questions. The way to get on the list is to send the donation. Suggested amount is 35. The links, payment links are in the description. Once you send the donation, share your date, time, place of birth, and your question. The question, I do ask that you prioritize one question per reading, and either drop your information in the chat or share it via email. Email is in the description as well. And you can specify whether it's okay to share your chart publicly or you prefer for it to stay private. Okay, so Nico, this is what I have for you, and I believe this is correct, but let me know if somehow I got your information incorrectly. But I think it should be good. I think I got everything right, but please confirm. Okay, you are saying Cancer Rising, Virgo Moon. Okay, so then we're good. Hi, Vicious Show. Oh my God, look at you. Good to see you. It's been a minute, I think. Okay, so Nico, the question is about August. What is coming up in August? So August is the eclipse season, obviously. And August brings a couple of interesting shifts, right? We're gonna, by the way, how lovely it is to have Venus and your moon right now. Hopefully, you are feeling nurtured and supported, or doing something to nurture and support yourself, or at the very least, becoming more aware of what needs to be taken care of in terms of your life. Okay, so August. It's a big and interesting month. So just a quick, you were born in 86. That makes you 39. 36, 37, 38, 39. You are in a Venus ruled annual perfection year. So there could be a lot of questions this year around home, family, living situation, maybe creating more joy in the home, maybe connecting with someone romantically from your hometown or childhood, or maybe just even focusing on bringing more pleasure in your home life. But we're looking at August. So August 6th, Venus is going to enter Libra. And that's significant because you're in the fourth house, annual perfection. Venus is coming home. She'll be there from August 6th until September 3rd, I believe. September 10th, a little longer this year because she's going to go retrograde in October. But Venus in the fourth house is kind of a positive time to connect with family. You may be feeling more nostalgic, wanting to go see family. Family can be coming to see you. It can also be a really beautiful time to focus on creating peace in your home, like changing things up somehow. Like making some improvements. Vicious Show says, yeah, it's been a while. It's been rough. Haha, I missed you guys. Yeah, I miss you guys too. The chats we had were so nice. It's like it's not the same. Sydney and I talk about you guys all the time. Um, okay, just give me a second. Oh, pressing all the wrong buttons. 1 minute. Okay, Nika. So, yes, so I think Venus entering your fourth house is positive and lovely. And that should be a good period because your Venus ruled, because Venus is coming home. So, anything that has to do with family, home, living situation should feel better. And if you're looking to talk to your landlord or look for a better place, um, Ingrid is asking how long are you on for today, and is it the 25 for a reading? So I've changed it to be 35 as a suggested donation, but it is a suggested donation, and I'll be on. It always kind of depends on how I'm doing that specific day, right? But right now my list is open after Nico, so I can definitely take a few more people. Um, the goal always is to be on like 2 hours max, so definitely another hour or so. So you can jump on the list, and if you're just joining and if you have questions about how this works, I ask for a donation. Suggested amount is 35. Once you send it, I will need the date, time, place of birth, and the question. The question, please do one per reading. And um, the question is, okay, and I click on the link at the bottom to pay. Yes, the link is in the description, and the link is also the same link as in the pinned comment. And if you want your information to stay private, you can email me. The email is also in the description, or you can share your birthday info publicly and allow me to share it in my chat. Okay, Nico, I apologize for getting distracted. Oh my God. And you're saying, Nico, I see an email from Nico saying, going to my sister's wedding August 6th. I'm from New Orleans, just moved to Seattle. Look at that. That is beautiful already. And good for your sister for getting married when Venus is entering Libra. This is awesome. Vicious Show says, okay, be right back. Going to pay, but my PayPal always tripping. Haha. Well, if it doesn't work and you want to like email me later to set it up because I know you, we can always figure it out later. I can do like if PayPal doesn't want to cooperate, we can figure it out. Nico also says, just got a better job in Seattle, been making more money in Seattle, new environment, but been here 3 months, new city, new experiences. Yeah, so August, in that regard is positive. What can be tricky in August is Mars entering Cancer a little bit after that. So Mars enters Cancer on August 11th, and it's going to be there until September 27th. And on one hand, when Mars goes into your first house, it can be energizing. It can suggest that you're feeling more energetic. Mars is out of your 12th house when it's in your 12th house. So throughout July, there could have been this sort of, maybe your sleep was disturbed. Maybe there was a lot of like self-doubt or being tough on yourself, being self-critical, dealing with some unprocessed anger, some unresolved feelings. When Mars comes out of the 12th, it's likely to bring more clarity and it's becoming more visible. So your energy is becoming more clear and more directed. However, it's Mars and it's fall. So you got to watch out for accidents. You got to watch out for like irritation. Mars irritates whichever house it moves through. And in Cancer, it can suppress anger. There could be like passive aggressive tendencies. And so you really want to make sure that you are, you want to express it in proactive ways, like exercise, go on long walks, do some like martial arts and things like that. Essie Suffolk says, hey, Anastasia, Suffolk Boys is back. Woohoo! Can I get one today? Yes. My list is open. You can get on the list by sending a donation. Use the link in the description. Suggested amount is 35. After you send the donation, share your birthday information and your question, and specify whether you want your information to be shared publicly or if you want it to stay private. You can email me and specify that you want it to stay private. Okay. Got the payment from Vicious Show. See your info. Okay. Awesome. I don't know if you want me to keep your name private. I already shared it a couple of times, but it's like tripping me up. I'm like, should I say it? Should I not say it? And also if you want me to keep your chart private as well. Okay, Nico. I'm sorry that I'm jumping around, but hopefully you can forgive me. Okay, so what else is going on? We talked about Venus, we talked about Mars. Eclipses are big animals in the room, right? So if we were to look at the eclipses real quick, the first one is August 12th. SC Suffolk says the link doesn't work. That's weird. It has been working so far. Have you tried both? There is a link in the description and there's a link in the chat. Maybe one of them would work. I can also just copy paste it again. Seems to work for me. So I just pasted it again. Hopefully it works. Okay. So just Nico, 1 second. I will readjust the chat because I have not the chat, the chart. So looking at the eclipse this time. Okay. So the first eclipse of the month on August 12th is happening in your second house of money and values. And it's interesting because you did say that you just got a better job. So there's already potentially more money coming in. And Jupiter, Jupiter is in your second house of money. There are gains and growth with Jupiter in the second house, more abundance. And the solar eclipse can also bring new beginnings, but it's a south node eclipse. So there may be some interesting questions around, like, yes, Jupiter brings you money, but south node might suggest that you have some kind of intention and a desire to spend this money. Like, you're not necessarily, the money that Jupiter is bringing is almost like south node says that you need to spend it on your family. Maybe you're buying a property. North node is in your 8th house. There may be some kind of a suggestion that you're taking care of someone, you're investing into something. There's almost like south node has this, it's like sucking energy out of your second house of money and values. You can also suggest that like old priorities no longer feel exciting. Maybe you've been spending money on some things for status, or you've been prioritizing certain kind of like luxury and certain type of things, and south node might also suggest that like this is no longer exciting for you. And north node in the 8th house can draw your attention towards like astrology or crystals or spirituality, and maybe you're like spending resources differently. And so this eclipse is like a new beginning, but it has the quality of you have to let something go first. It's almost like money's coming in, but I don't know, what are you spending it on right now? Is there something that you're like interested in? Maybe you're going on a trip. Maybe you're planning a big vacation, because the eclipse on the 28th of the month is in your 9th house. And you already moved, right? You already relocated, which is a major change in terms of where you live. Just checking, Nico, if I have any messages from you. I don't see any messages, but you did relocate. So the last 2 years we've been having eclipses in Pisces since September 2024, and this August 28th eclipse is the last eclipse in Pisces. And it might be suggesting that there is some kind of storyline wrapping up around education, around travel, around maybe even philosophy, religion. Again, some kind of shift in like values and mindset. I do wonder if the money that's coming in, maybe again you're like thinking of spending it on school, studying, travel. There might be some kind of like philosophical, educational shift in your life that is being brought up by this. Um, so those are the big things in August. Let me think what else might be interesting happening. Yeah, August, I think like the beginning of August feels a little like frictiony because we still have Mars Venus square in the air. Watch out for that Mars in the first house as far as especially around the time of the second eclipse, August 28th. If you look, you'll see that it's right on top of your ascendant. So the final 10 days of August, be careful and maybe avoid eating like super spicy food, and like, yeah, be mindful of taking risks and rushing places. Venus in the fourth, definitely good times with family. Eclipses, some sort of shifts in the finances, priorities, maybe money that's coming and you're being more generous with it, or you're like not feeling as monetary driven, you're maybe feeling more spiritually driven. So there may be some interesting questions. Nico is asking, my astrocartography mentioned Seattle, Vancouver was my hot zone. I found this out after I moved here. That's awesome. That would be like, I do these kind of readings too, but I would consider it like a different sort of reading, a more in depth to look at what Seattle says about your chart. But it's good that you're following your astrocartography calling. And Nico says, I've been thinking about traveling, but I have to work until October and then I will start traveling again. Okay. That's interesting. So maybe it is a sign of priorities changing in your life. So Nico, I hope that gives you a bit of a preview of August and definitely some ways to think about how to approach it. Enjoy your sister's wedding and yeah, enjoy the new job in Seattle. I wonder how this eclipse series will change things. Think back also on 2008, 2009 and what was happening in terms of your resources and finances and relationships that involve other people. Okay. Um, so SC Suffolk was saying it is because I opened with Firefox. Yeah, maybe Firefox is not a fan of opening links. I don't know. Hi Maria. Vicious Show says it might be I use Safari on my phone. Okay. Ingrid is next. Is it okay to share your chart, Ingrid? Or, oh, wait, no, I see it. You say you can share my info. And my question is job related. When will I get a new job? Should we do a horary, I wonder, for you? We can do a horary and see if it tells us anything. And then maybe we can also look at your transits. Let's do both. You're like, can I do both? Yeah, sure. It's a very Pisces Virgo moon choice. And I feel it. I feel it as well. Okay. Nico, again, I hope this answered your question. I'm going to move on to Ingrid's question. For those who are watching, if you'd like to join, the list is open. I have Ingrid, and next I don't have anyone. So if you wanted to jump on, send the donation. Suggested amount is 35. Once you send it, please use the links in the description. Once you send it, I will need your date, time, place of birth. And if you're okay with it being shared publicly, drop it in the chat. If you want it to stay private, you can email me. Email is also in the description, and specify that you want your information to stay private. This way I'll know not to share it. Ingrid, how has your practice of astrology been? Have you been able to have you been diving into it more? Have you been giving people readings? What's happening with that? Hi, Bhavana. You can ask a question, of course. We're having Anastasia's student reunion. Speaking of which, if you're watching, my natal chart begins in September. My natal chart class, we start again in September. You can learn everything about reading charts, starting with the basics like zodiac signs, houses, aspects. What does the sigil mean for each planet? Why is the sun a circle with the dot in the middle? Why isn't it like a circle with a bunch of rays and stuff like that? To things that are way more complicated, like synodic cycle of a planet, retrogradation of a planet, lunar phases, a lot of other things. So join us. Ingrid says, oof, girl, I had to put it on the back burner. I had a lot of stuff come up that I had to do. Hopefully some exciting stuff. Hopefully not all difficult stuff. Okay, so Ingrid, I have your info. We're doing a horary and we're doing when will and we're going to look at your transit. So when will Ingrid find a new job? July 27, 2026, 6:02 p.m. on my end. Okay, just a minute. Ingrid says, no, my uncle is passing away, unfortunately, so we've been dealing with that. I am very sorry to hear that. Seems symbolic that this is happening like right around the eclipse in Leo. Well, I guess it could have happened earlier, right? Like, have you looked at, I mean, you probably know, when did it happen exactly, Ingrid? I mean, we do have Pluto in Aquarius, which is your seventh house, and North Node was in Pisces until recently, your eighth, and then South Node was in Virgo, right? And South Node can always bring some kind of energy. You found out around June 5th. What was happening on June 5th? I'm very much like, I forget the transits as they leave as like a month goes by, even less sometimes. June 5th. I mean, it was like Cancer, right? Jupiter was still in Cancer and Venus was conjoining Jupiter in Cancer. So sometimes that could suggest some kind of, even though Jupiter and Venus are positive, when it happens in your 12th house, it can bring a sense of ending as well. You're saying, and has just been progressing fast since, been dealing with the prison and hospital, and that's when I had a lot of stuff in my 12th house, right? Yeah, that is very 12th house, all of that stuff. I mean, I hope that South Node, North Node, like South Node leaving the sign of your Jupiter and your moon will be a positive shift, because like South Node in the same sign as the moon is not fun. Okay, let us look at the horary chart and see what it tells us. And this is a lot of things. It's a lot of things in this page. Let's just start maybe by looking at the chart on its own. I feel like it's gonna confuse me. Okay, so when will Ingrid find a new job? Let's see if there is anything that this chart tells us. So first house is given to the person asking a question. so is the ruler of the first house. We have Capricorn on the ascendant. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So Ingrid is Saturn in Aries. It's interesting that your planet is retrograde and it's in the sign of its fall in the house of extended family. You can say third house is like siblings, neighbors, your community. So it could be connected to extended family. Maybe just also, like third house schedule, feeling somehow overwhelmed with things that are going on in your life. And maybe, yeah, like having the planet in its fall is just a sign that you're potentially not feeling your best at the present moment. And the moon represents your emotional self. And the moon here is in Capricorn, which is another sign that the moon, Saturn doesn't necessarily feel its best, the hottest in Aries. Moon doesn't feel its hottest in Capricorn. But this is not the question. We're not really looking to figure everything out in that regard. Um, you're asking about a job. So first house is you, 10th house is the job in the horary in general, 10th house is career. So 10th house here, midheaven, falls at 2351 Libra. It's ruled by Venus in Virgo. The job, interestingly enough, sits in it's like every planet that we're looking at is either in its fall or detriment today, at least in this specific chart. So the job, I mean, you do have two planets in Virgo, so maybe the job having Virgo energy is a positive kind of match to your significators in your chart. Venus in Virgo, 19 degrees, 47 minutes. What I love about this chart is that the next aspect the moon is making, which is your emotional self, is to Venus. So the moon has squared Saturn recently because the moon is at 1603 Capricorn, and she's traveling towards Venus. Venus being in the ninth makes me wonder if the job is connected or going to be connected to education, to travel, to some kind of legal work, maybe even some type of like working with foreign people, working, like as a some kind of, like facilitator in an education field. And the fact that we're asking when and there's 3 degrees between them could suggest that it's 3 weeks, 3 months, let's say. Could be 3 days, but I don't know if I would be so optimistic as to say 3 days. But they're about like 3, 4, right? If you look at this one being 1603, this one being 1947. And Virgo and Saturn also share an Antisha between them because Cancer, Gemini share Antisha, Leo, Taurus, Aries, and Virgo. And so these guys are also, interestingly enough, so if we say that Venus is at 19, almost 20, it will be an Antisha to like 11, 10 degrees of Aries. So it's kind of, again, about 3, 4 degrees away from Saturn. Why do I care about Saturn? Saturn is your ruler. So it looks like 3, 4 weeks or months is what will be my thinking here. Ingrid says, geez, haha, Dark Night of the Soul, AF. Yeah, it suggests that, but I'm hoping that Jupiter in your first house is bringing at least a little bit of optimism and hopefulness. You're saying that's what I've been guessing, 2, 3 weeks. Yeah, let's say 3, 4 weeks to be kind of like middle of the road. Stick to more like middle of the road forecast. Let me look at your transits to see if there's anything like confirming this testimony. And my list is open after Ingrid. If you wanted to get on the list, I ask for a donation. Suggested amount is $35. Please use the links in the description. Once you send your donation, I will need your date, time, place of birth. Do send it earlier than later so I know I have people after Ingrid and I know to stick around. And then I need your date, time, place of birth and your question. Share it publicly if you are okay with me sharing your chart on my screen, or email me. The email is down below as well with your info and your question, and specify that you want it to stay private. Okay, Ingrid, back to you. Are you, oh, did I ask or did I think of asking, are you applying already? Like, are you, and what kind of work are you looking for? Ingrid says, so down Saturn retrograde help with sixth and seventh houses because it is the ruler. And yes, been applying in anything customer service related. Okay. Oh, does Saturn retrograde help with sixth and seventh houses because it is the ruler? It could suggest that you're going back to a job, or maybe you're connecting with someone from your past and they're helping you find work. It could be it could be an interesting period to like look at relationships, even with the North Node in Aquarius, right? Because Aquarius is a social house, social zodiac sign. Yeah, it's interesting too because you had in June there was Jupiter Venus in your 12th house, and then of course Mercury was there, and then there was Mercury retrograde. So even though Jupiter left your 12th house, you're still dealing with Mercury transiting through the 12th house, and Mercury is your time lord for this year, right? So there is a lot of Mercury 12th house action still continuing. You're like, I'm so done with the 12th. I feel you as someone who has 3 planets in her 12th house. But I'm coming to love and understand it and sort of feel better about it. Oh, and then of course Saturn on Mercury, right? Saturn on Mercury is not fun. Okay, so work. Midheaven in Taurus, ruled by your Venus in the eighth. Working with other people, dealing with other people, making money through working with other people makes a lot of sense. Venus is currently in her fall. She is entering her sign of rulership on August 6th. And she will be happy and healthy from August 6th until September 10th. That is a positive energy to look forward to. She's gonna be sextiling your ascendant, which could be interesting. And Venus in the third is again sort of lovely for communication, networking, community, speaking, phone calls, like that kind of work, I think. Writing, business promotion, and stuff along those lines. Okay, we have Saturn sextile in August. We have Jupiter trining your. That's nice. Jupiter is going to trine your Mercury on August 20th. Jupiter smiling at your time lord. I think that is perhaps some light at the end of the tunnel coming up. That could be good. Okay, I see Bhavana and I see Fran. Okay, so I will add you ladies to my list. Fran, just make sure to provide not just the date, I also need the time and the place for more specific reading. Okay. So, Ingrid, I'd say definitely look at like August 20th as good news, as opportunities for something, you're sending messages, signing contracts, negotiating. August 20th, I like a lot. And even on the 26th, there's a Jupiter square to your midheaven. So that could be a tendency to maybe do too much, where you're like so enthusiastic about the job opportunities, you're like overpromising and you're being like, of course I can learn a new language in 30 days. So just watch out for that. But that kind of again puts us the Jupiter Mercury trine. It kind of puts us in the 3-4 weeks timeline. So I think be patient with it and give it like 3-4 weeks time. So thank you, Ingrid. I hope this helped. Bhavana, you're next. Ingrid says, "Okay, thank you so much. You're welcome, and it's so good to hear from you. Just stay strong. You are the light. You are the light of bright, sunny, positive energy in our class, and you're just such a beautiful soul. So do not give up. Do not like feel too bogged down by the difficulty. You got this. You got this, Ingrid." um Life tests you because it knows that you can get through it. And it's like, you, Ingrid and Bhavana, you both have Saturn in Aquarius. You are very Saturnian people, and Saturn teaches you tough lessons, but it teaches you those lessons because it knows that you can get through them and get better. Ingrid says, "Thank you, you're a great teacher." Oh, thank you so much. If you're watching and you're interested in studying astrology with me, we begin Natal Astrology Blueprint of the Soul on September 5th. Sign up at anastasia.astrology.com and come study with me. Okay, so let me add Bhavana and Fran to my list so I keep everything organized. Bhavana, is it okay to share your chart? I don't know, you might be, I'm not sure the question you're asking yet, but let me know. Okay, added Bhavana to the list. And Fran, adding you to the list as well. Okay, so Bhavana, let's see. Bhavana says, "I hope you're well. Thank you. I am okay." I just think always a little bit overwhelmed by life. Okay, Bhavana says, "I'm sleepy, so I might fall asleep. So you can still do the reading. I have 3, but 2 are private. Maybe I can ask them later after the live, and 1 here. I would like to know how my transits will be till December. Like what kind of things will happen? Is there some nice things going to happen or only bad things as things seem to become only worse? I hope you understand what I mean. Yes, show it." So, Bhavana, the same message as for Ingrid applies to you. You are our bright Leo moon, so generous, so caring, and so compassionate. Do not feel like life is just difficult things. There are always good things. Bhavana says, "Yes, you really are a great teacher. Love to be in the class with you." You guys, you guys. What a lovely energy today. And I have Jupiter in my 11th house, so you guys are my 11th house, my community, my social online community. And I feel very loved and supported by you. So thank you so much. Okay, so Bhavana wants to know about the transits for the next few months. Let's see. Okay, Bhavana, Summer 4659. I see your question. If you don't mind waiting, I can take a look at it after I do Bhavana's reading. I just want to focus on the question at hand. Okay. So Bhavana is wondering about the transits coming up for the next until December. So you're 34. 34 is the 11th house year ruled by Saturn. So Saturn is the time lord for you this year. Saturn is the time lord for you when you are turning 35 as well. So Saturn is interesting and worth watching. So it's not, there's definitely not only difficult transits. I like Jupiter in your 6th house. I think Jupiter being your chart ruler is suggesting that you are currently in this place, in the phase of life where you have to take care of yourself, and Jupiter is going to bring good teachers, not good teachers, not good, like good doctors. 6th house is the house of like things that befall you, difficulties that you run into, obstacles, hurdles. And so Jupiter in the 6th is bound to bring like sort of good staff of people that can take care of you. And it's encouraging you. It's very much like almost, forcing you to take care of yourself. It's saying that less is more right now. And so South Node is here. It's suggesting that you're letting go of work. You're having to let go of things that are draining you. North Node and the 12th is kind of putting you in situation of having to I already know some things about your life, so obviously some of the things I say are impacted by the things I know. But I think North Node in the 12th is just saying that like it is time for you to let go of some things, some worries and concerns, and go in the direction of like spirituality, mental health. 12th house is all of the sort of like prisons, hospitals, mental clinics, and things like that. So and then Jupiter suggests that there are people and there's situations that can be supportive for you. And Venus is going to enter your 8th house and then going to go into the 9th house. So Venus will be in the 8th house from August 6th until September 10th. And 8th house is the house of governmental money, shared resources, loans, debts, insurance. And this is a really good time, Bhavana, to like maximize it as much as you can. Send emails, reach out to people, ask like what kind of like programs people have. So between August 6th, September 10th, Venus is here. She's strong. She suggests supports, resources, and gifts from other people, including the government, including like any kind of financial support and care. Venus will enter Scorpio on September 10th and going to go retrograde on October 4th. So there may be some kind of suggestion that you have to be careful with how you spend the resources that come your way, especially from August 31st onwards, because there may be a sense that as the retrograde happens, some of the resources that were given to you will need to be like, I don't know, if it's a friend lending you money, they might be like, I actually need to know when you'll pay me back. So between August 31st and October 4th, and then from October 4th until November 14th, October 3rd until November 14th, you really want to make sure that you're like making good decisions in terms of these resources that are coming your way. So I think there is support here. I think there is support, and I think there's good people. I think there's good doctors and kind of helpful relationship situations that are coming your way. August also puts Jupiter against your Saturn, so there will be this question of like growth against fears and taking risks and maybe allowing other people in, like in terms of your mental health, in terms of your physical health. September brings Chiron in a square to your Mars and then Venus. So September can bring some healing energy, maybe a little bit of difficult energy. make sure that you like slow down in September and do not, do not like try to do too many things at once. Do not force things. Like maybe be ready for September to be like a quieter month. Okay, what else is interesting here? Yeah, North Node is going to conjoin your Sun while South Node is conjoining your Moon. That is interesting. Somehow you will be releasing emotional patterns, or maybe there could be also even some kind of release connected to your mom or your childhood. Just maybe even like, some kind of sense of like, I am letting go of the person I used to be. I'm letting go of like the childhood patterns, and I'm going more in the direction of embracing my originality, embracing my, yeah, like it's like, don't worry about expectations of others. Don't worry about expectations of your parents, your mother, and like do things that are good for your well-being. And it's like it's this next sort of year and a half is very much about less is more, which I already said, and very much about trying to balance your mental health with physical health. So I think those are the main things that I'm seeing, Bhavana, for you. Okay. Fran is next on the list. So Summer, I can answer your question, but if you want me to look at your chart, I ask for a donation. So I thought the question you had was more general about a dental surgery. So I can definitely, just tell you what I think about tomorrow's date. But if you want me to look at your chart, I see that you shared your information. Please send the donation. Suggested amount is 35. And you can use the link in the description. Once you send the donation, I can pull up your chart and answer the question in more depth. But as far as the question that you had, you're going for dental surgery tomorrow. And is it a good time for that, for facial procedures? I can definitely just take a look at like real quick at what tomorrow is and what is it saying, what is it looking like. But for deeper analysis, and Fran, you're going to be next. I'm just going to take a real quick look at tomorrow. To answer a question about the dental surgery. So, generally we have Mars in Gemini. There is a Mars-Venus square. I don't love Mars-Venus square because Venus in a square to Mars may suggest that you're going to feel a little bit dissatisfied with the results of the surgery. It doesn't have to be that. Mars in Gemini is generally quite good in terms of like problem solving and being flexible and quick and clever. So I think it's decent. It's not, it's maybe not the best. Wait, this is July 27th, July 28th. But Venus Mars square is definitely still there. I mean, the moon is trining Venus, so there's it's okay. I think it's okay. I'm just Venus Mars. Venus is beauty, Mars is action. There may be like a little bit of like discomfort or disagreement and things. But there's definitely some supportive energy, and Mars in Gemini is generally pretty good, and Mercury is direct. So I wouldn't tell you like cancel it because it's not going to go well. But because there's Venus Mars square, it might suggest that it's not going to be like one and done. You might end up looking at things and thinking of like, making more changes in the future or something like that. Heather Russ on 691 saying hello, would love to connect. So I'd be happy to answer your question, Heather. Just the way this works is, as mentioned, I ask for a donation. Suggested amount is 35. You can send it via the link in the description. There's also a link pinned to the chat, to the top of the chat. Once you send the donation, I will need your date, time, place of birth, and your question. You can either share your chart information publicly and allow me to share your information, or you can share it privately via the email that is provided in the description, and also specify that you want your info to stay private. Okay, Fran is next. And let me see your information. Okay. Fran is saying, I want to know if I'm going to find love this year. I'm hoping for a serious, long-lasting marriage type relationship. That might also be a horror chart type of question, so we might do that too. But let me just take a look real quick. Heather, I see your donation. Thank you very much. I will add you to my list as well. Just FYI, if you guys, if you want to keep your chart information private, just keep in mind that I will probably say your name because I see the donations as they come in and I want to let you know that I received it, but I can't keep the rest of your information private. Okay, Fran, focusing on your question. Zooming in. Also, Fran, is it okay to share your chart? And I got Pisces Sun, Pisces Moon, Aquarius Rising. Is that correct? Okay, so question is about love, whether there will be love this year. You're saying I'm an astrologer, but want fresh eyes. Scorpio solar return, ascendant, second house perfection year. Astrolofox says, hi, Anastasia. Good day, room. Good day to you as well. Fran says, I had the most amazing health outcomes and diagnosis and cures and treatments this last year. Best in my entire life. That's amazing. Got a drug that controls a very painful and serious skin disease. That's wonderful. Fran says, I've never had a horror done. Okay, you say absolutely yes in terms of reading, in terms of sharing the chart. Summer says, are we able to leave the donation here by any chance? Does YouTube have a function for that? YouTube does, but I do prefer for people to use the links I provided. There are 3 options for payment. YouTube donations go through YouTube, and with that comes a lot of, its own things and its own fees and all of that stuff. And so I do ask people generally to use the links I provided, but it's, if you're unable to do that, then you can do it through YouTube, but I would really ask that you prioritize the donation I shared. Okay, Fran says Jupiter was in my 6th house. Yes, Jupiter exalted in your 6th house is just, it's like for sure so good for health. And I'm glad that it brought a lot of positive things your way. When Jupiter was in my 6th house, I froze my eggs and I got really good results at the retrieval. Like I only had to do once, and Jupiter was in Pisces in my 6th house. So you get an exalted Jupiter. I get Jupiter in rulership and it's in my 6th house, and it was wonderful. Okay, so Fran, relationships. I am tempted to do horror, but I am going to start with a solar return just out of curiosity to see, not a solar return, just the regular chart to see if anything jumps at me. So Jupiter in the 7th, lovely. Were you in a relationship in 2014-15? Were you in a relationship in 2002, 2003? Jupiter expands. It brings people that are supportive. South Node here will suggest that you are also going through a period of an ego death. It's very much like let go of the perfect image or some kind of sense of like who your partner has to be. Allow the universe to surprise you. North Node in the first is a major time of like, you gotta figure out who you are. You gotta be authentic and truthful to yourself, and you have to pour in your own cup. And then you attract the person that sees that in you, right? And so, in terms of new relationships, we have the solar eclipse coming up. That could be the time of a new relationship. But South Node also maybe wants you to first clear space for new beginnings and let go of some kind of, some type of like unhealthy, ego driven relationship pattern that maybe you have. Like if you like really want people who are, you have Leo in the seventh, maybe you want a partner who's like bright and like a star and magical and grand. So maybe there's just like a little bit of like perspective shift that needs to happen with South Node there. You're saying I met my partners when South Node was in my seventh house in the past. So 2008, 2009. And you're saying I have been wide open for a long time. Obviously, watch out the Venus retrograde. Did you say you were in the second house annual perfection, right? So 61, right? 60, 61, ruled by Jupiter in Taurus in the fourth. Venus is here, the sun is here, the moon is here. Yeah, like I think 61, 30, 39, no, 61, 49, 37, 25 can be like really important years in your life for relationships and otherwise too. Um 61. Yeah. So Summer, thank you so much for the gift. I don't really know how the gifts on YouTube work. I think there's a way you can press the dollar sign and donate through that. If you couldn't, again, I do ask that you please use the links I provided. And if that doesn't work, please do the dollar sign to support. And this way, like, the gifts puzzle me. I don't know how they work. So, oh, you're just gifting for kindness. I appreciate that. Thank you. Um, my Virgo brain is just like, what does this mean? I do not understand. Okay, so Fran, it's really interesting that you have met your partners in the past with South Node in the seventh. I think that's significant, and I think that's a really good sign because eclipses in the seventh can very much represent new beginnings, even when there's South Node eclipses. I've seen Aries risings when South Node was in Libra start a lot of new relationships. I've seen one meet the partner that she ended up getting married shortly after too. Okay, so let me just do a horary because I am curious. When will Fran? Or I guess you were wondering if you'll meet this person this year, right? Is that the question? Do you kind of want to know more whether you'll meet them until the end of the year, or you're just curious when will you meet them? I really appreciate all of your comments and participation. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for the gifts. If you are interested in astrology so much you can't get enough, come study with me. My natal class begins in September, and I will guide you. I will nurture your baby astrological soul and teach you how to read charts. Register at Anastasia.astrology.com. We meet twice a week, and it lasts 3 months, and you will come out of it knowing how to look at people's charts and how to put things together. Okay, so Fran, your question was, I see originally you were asking if you're going to find love this year. Okay, so but you're saying when will I meet them? And you're saying I like the full moon opposite Jupiter with my seventh house Lord Sun conjunct Jupiter. Yeah, having your time Lord come into the seventh house is positive for sure. When? Okay, we're gonna look at when. Fran meets her future love. And Heather, I have you, I got you. You're going to be next. So just bear with me. And after that, I think I'm going to close my list because we're getting close to 7. So if you wanted to get a reading, join us next time, hopefully. And you can, you know, you can get a reading next week, next Monday, because I'll be live next Monday. I'm just gonna, oh, too many cords. I'm just gonna turn the light on. Just give me a second. Dropping things along the way. Kayla says I paid for one via PayPal. Okay, Kayla, you'll be the last person in that case. So let me just make sure that I put the message in. The list is closed, and then Kayla will be last. So it will be Heather and Kayla after I do Fran's reading. Okay, and 1 second, just let me fix my light because I am a Libra rising, and the light has to be up to standard. Okay, something like this. My fan is acting out. Okay, just 1 other second. Forgive me. It fell down and now it's being all weird. Okay, Fran, back to you. I again apologize for jumping around a little bit, but I do need the fan. We are having a pretty hot summer. So, Fran, did you say that the last time South Node was in Leo and North Node was in Aquarius, 2008, 2009, you were in a relationship or you met someone? Okay, so it is going to be pretty much a similar horary chart to the chart we pulled earlier, but we're asking a different kind of question. So it's not, I'd say it's less important that it's similar looking, but you are Saturn and you are the moon. Actually, no. You are Saturn, the partner is the moon. Could you have met them already, Fran? Could you have met them about like 2 weeks ago? Have you met anyone that is on the horizon already? Because this sort of says that you have met this person most likely. And you may have met them very recently. Oh, wow. You're saying you met your late husband in 2008 and in 1990. So this chart tells me that this person is somewhere very close in your vicinity. And you're saying unlikely in terms of you having met them. I don't know. This sort of does look like there has been a connection between you and this person already, because they're in the first house. So you are Saturn. The other person is the moon. They are in the first house, so they're like in your territory. I mean, if we were to look at the distance between the person and the ascendant, there is 7 degrees, so that could be significant. There's also Moon Mercury opposition that could be suggestive of something, of like there is like 1 degree opposition between them. Sun Jupiter in the 7th. I do wonder if it could be, you're saying definitely not anyone recently, but in the past years ago. I mean, it could be a couple of years ago. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, there's only 2 degrees between these planets, but they're separating, and that's why it looks to me like something had already passed. If it was applying, I would maybe say that it looks more like it's coming up, but this interestingly enough looks like maybe it's someone from your past. Yeah. I mean, Mercury is in the seventh house, but Mercury, is there something that's like connecting you two that's maybe. Yeah, it reads as someone from the past, and if I had to, if there's really like no one in your past that you think can come back knocking into your life, then I might wonder if it's the distance between the ascendant and the moon, which represents the partner, and in that case it kind of looks like 7 degrees, and 7 degrees can be 7 weeks. It could be you meet someone in like 7 months. um we are having a new moon in your 10th house, and then there's going to be a Virgo eclipse. There's not actually going to be another Leo eclipse until next summer. um but it might be that you meet someone, or you somehow met them because maybe they noticed you and they're about to like make their approach, but you haven't noticed them. Maybe it's someone you like chatted with and you didn't give it much attention, but then this person is coming into your life. My old boss just friended me on Facebook. Huh. There's a Leo I met in 2023. His birthday is August 13th, so eclipse will be on his sun on August 12th. Yeah, I think it really reads as someone from your past, and it looks like they are already kind of. Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm just interpreting this chart. I'm not the divinity. I'm just trying to translate what I'm seeing from the cosmic energy. So there's potentially multiple interpretations to it. um but it does look like the person is very interested in you, and potentially it's someone that you already met, or maybe it's someone you're going to meet, but this chart says that it already happened. So my vote will be it's someone from your past, and maybe you're going to experience some kind of new beginning around the time of the eclipse. Do you like the old boss that just friended you on Facebook? You're saying I definitely like Sun and Jupiter and Mercury in the seventh. Yeah, they can also be symbolizing that there is something new coming up, but generally you do want there to be an aspect between the ruler of the seventh and the ruler of the. And there is an aspect, it's just a separating one. And so because it's separating, I feel like maybe you've already encountered this person. So that's my take, Fran, on your question. So Heather and Kayla are the two people that I have. Let me say that the list is closed. I feel like I have not. Fran says, I feel like he might be recently single, my old boss. Yeah, and with your Venus and Pisces, I bet you mesmerized him, and he probably is thinking of you because who can resist a Venus and Pisces? Okay, Heather, I need your info. Let me scroll up to see if I have it. Kayla, please make sure that I have your chart info, date, time, place of birth, your question, and permission to share your chart if it's okay to share. For both of you ladies, just make sure I have that. So Heather, I am looking to see exalted Venus and Pisces. Indeed, it's so beautiful. Okay, Heather, scrolling. See your info. Okay, awesome. And I see the permission from you to share. Heather has a beautiful Venus too, Venus in Libra. Venus in Libra. We love Venus in Libra here. However, there's also South Node has that Heather has in Libra, and that would be affecting things as South Node does. Okay. Just gonna make sure I have the right house system. Okay, Heather, I got Libra Sun, Cap Moon, Aquarius Rising. Is this correct for you? And Heather's question was, so you're saying, yes, you can share my chart. 2 questions. The first one, I do ask that you please prioritize 1 question. That's part of my requirement. So yeah, please, Heather, let me know which one you want me to answer today, because these are small readings and they pertain to 1 question at a time. The question options are career direction to take it in. And the second one is about love. What does that look like over the next year? I'm single. So yes, let me know which one is the priority and we will dive in. And so it's Heather and Kayla, and the list is open. The list is closed, sorry, after that. So I will wrap up after Heather and Kayla. So if you wanted to get a reading, but I didn't get to you today, please keep an eye out open. I am going live every Monday, so you can definitely come next Monday and jump on the list. Okay, so Heather is saying the love question. Is the information I shared correct? Are you a Libra Sun, Capricorn, Moon, Aquarius rising? Does that sound right? So Aquarius risings seem to be coming out and being curious about love questions, and that makes sense. So okay, so you're born with Aquarius rising. You are quirky, individual, unique, different, right? Aquarius gives you this like rational perspective. You have your sun in Libra. You're someone who like, thinks about things. You're quite sort of rational generally. The ruler of your 7th is the sun, and that's interesting. So the sun, having the 7th house in Leo does suggest that people you attract usually tend to think more with their ego. They tend to be more ego driven. They tend to be maybe more like, look at me, drawing the spotlight, drawing attention. However, the ruler of your 7th is the sun in Libra. The sun is in its fall in Libra. And this can suggest that people you attract have something about them that is in its fall. So like it's interesting because you do have a strong Venus, and Venus in Libra is very capable. It can bring you relationships. It's very loving. You are likely to be a peacemaker. You are someone creative and artistic and charming. Love Venus in Libra, and like Venus is the planet of love. She is in the sign of the South Node, and that can suggest that there's going to be like some early relationships in your life that will not quite work out, or they will have karmic energies, and what you're learning is to be more martial in this lifetime with your North Node in Aries, and you're learning to not avoid conflict. You're learning to express what you want. You're learning to kind of like speak up and be an individual in relationship. And it could be tricky when you have a lot of Libra energy, because it might be easy to get lost in a relationship and to be like, like Libras are so sensitive to other people. Libras are so fair and just and so caring about others. So it's hard to prioritize yourself sometimes because you get too caught up in the expectations of the other person or codependency. And so um it's important, it's like a big part of your life journey, and a big part of success in relationships is like not shying away from conflict, and um expressing things that bother you as they come up, and of course doing it with the charming Libra touch. What is something I would recommend working on is the ruler of the seventh being the sun in its fall. And so that can suggest that you're attracting people who are maybe dogmatic. Maybe they have some beliefs, like some kind of religious values that are fallen. Like let's say you're attracting someone and they say like they can't marry you because you are of a different religion. And some people, for some people this is the way, this is what they believe, and they have the right to believe what they want. But do you want to be with a person who like puts their beliefs above you? um that is kind of questionable. I think it's perfectly good for some people to like stick to their beliefs and stick to their faith and only choose partners that are matching their faith. um but there's just something that suggests that people you attract, you need to be more discerning with, and you need to be more careful with, because there may be some kind of like beliefs that contradict you. And so again, speaking up and figuring things out. um yeah, Fran, absolutely. Fran says Heather might attract people from a foreign country, ruler of the seventh and the ninth. Yeah, being attracted to foreign people. I would recommend with the ruler being in its fall, if you're looking to improve your love life, there are rituals you can do. And a lot of them will include kind of creative, passionate things. So when you have the sun in its fall, you may be, again, like you're someone who really values relationships and you're very aware of how to create harmony and balance. But it may be harder for you to get the recognition you seek and the recognition you desire. And so these patterns can play out in relationships. And so in order to work on that sun and work on the relationship sector, there are a few things you can do. Sunday is the day of the sun, so I would take Sunday, and this is my approach to astrology. I'm all about what can one do. You have certain placements in your chart, and some of them are easy, some of them are difficult, but there's always things you can do. And so with your sun, I would take Sunday as a day to go out, hang out with Leos, maybe do some kind of like explore opportunities to be visible, to be in the spotlight, to dance, sing, shine, find ways, like maybe act, like do things that put you in the spotlight. And I would also really recommend my sunlight in a jar for you. This is a really good candle for any Aquarius rising because it falls in your seventh house. It's the sun in Leo. So the sun in its domicile in the seventh house of relationships, and it is more likely to help you attract the person that is like solar in a generous, kind, compassionate way, kind of like Michelle Obama type of person. And I'm saying that because Barack Obama is an Aquarius rising and he's got the sun in the seventh, and his partner is Michelle Obama, who is like bright and solar and, beautiful and magical in her own way. So sunlight in a jar is a creation I have that was created specifically with that empowered sun in mind. So if you wanted to check out my candles, that would be an advice together with the rituals for Sunday. And then in terms of like what's coming up, right? You are in a powerful period right now. And this period is going to last from July 2026 until spring of 2028, when we're getting eclipses in your seventh and first houses. Heather says feels like you're psychic sometimes in response to what Fran is saying. And you're saying love the ideas for Sunday rituals. Yeah, like you gotta, like you gotta kind of honor your solar energy and connect with that. Like, I am the star, I deserve what I want. I'm not just here to be a partner, I'm also here to shine. And so, like, the candle, the dancing, the acting, even hanging out with Leos or being in the sun, all of that can like boost your solar energy. But yes, I think the eclipse season period we're in, starting with the eclipse we're having on August 12th, can be deeply significant. Look at 2008, 2009, similar questions as they were for Fran, who is also an Aquarius rising like you. So the first eclipse is August 12th, and it's a solar eclipse, so it's a new beginning in your relationship sector. But it's that sort of new beginning with the spiritual undertones, with like something needs to change in your relationships in terms of how you approach and how you deal with things. And like North Node in your first house really says that you're entering a period of like personal empowerment and personal growth. And so through honoring yourself and nurturing yourself, you're likely to attract better relationships. And then next August 2nd, 2027, we're going to have another Leo eclipse. And so this year offers powerful window of opportunities in terms of relationships. So have a good time, explore those rituals that I recommended. Really suggest getting the sunlight in a jar candle. I am someone with Venus in her fall in my chart, and I do Venus rituals every week pretty much, even though I struggled with relationships and I met my partner. So I'm very much like, I think even if things are going well, you can always work on improving your chart and bringing attention to the planets that are struggling a little bit. Amir, I have wrapped up for the day. I'm not taking any more new people, but you can join me next week around the same time, and I might take you then. But thank you so much, Heather. Take advantage of the eclipses and Jupiter in your 7th house for the next year. I hope it helps. It's definitely a good time with Jupiter for the next year in your 7th house to trust that people that are coming your way are supportive and they want to make your life better and they want to like honor you and encourage you. So in that regard, Jupiter has a protective effect. Okay, Kayla, our final person. Are you still here? Say hello. I hope you're still here. And your solar return is tomorrow. How exciting. Okay, Kayla is our closing act for the day. I see the info and I see the permission to share. And you're saying, is that my solar return tomorrow? What stands out? So you're curious about what I see coming up for the year ahead? Is that what you're wondering? Or are you wondering generally like what stands out to me in your natal chart? Are you still in South Africa, Kayla? My fiance and I are watching Alone. The new season has them in South Africa. They're like in the desert somewhere in South Africa, which is pretty crazy. Beautiful, but I'm like, why would you ever go in the desert and try to survive in the desert when we are in the world when we don't need to be in the desert? Oh my God, you're also an Aquarius rising. Aquarius risings unite. And it makes so much sense with North Node having just entered your sign, that Aquarius risings are all being like, North Node in my sign. Who am I? What am I doing here? What is my purpose? Kayla says I'm in Florida right now. Okay, and you're wondering what stands out for the year ahead. You're also an Aquarius rising. Okay. Let us see what stands out for the year ahead. I'll take a look at your annual perfection and maybe really briefly at your solar return, just to see what it is saying. Ooh, your solar return also has Aquarius on the ascendant. That is a big deal. That is very significant. It's a sign of a year in which you are very much, self-driven, self-motivated, and it could be a big year of personal development. And that is, of course, also what's your North Node in the first house is saying. If you wanted to get a solar return reading, Kayla, this is a perfect time to book like a year ahead solar return reading, actually, to look at your chart and talk about like what's coming up. Because when I do solar return readings, I look at the solar return, I look at perfection, progression, I look at the transits. It's like a very in-depth analysis. So consider checking that out on my website. Okay, so your natal chart first. I see Leo Sun, Taurus Moon, Aquarius rising. Is this correct? And of course, you are turning 29, which is the 6th house year. And the ruler of your 6th house year is the exalted moon in the 4th house. So, correct. Okay. So 6th house years tend to be interesting for taking care of health. They can be the years in which you are working on something, right? Like sixth house is not the most glamorous, but the ruler of your 6th house is the exalted moon. And the moon is really powerful here. It's also your Saturn return. You're kind of going through this interesting period. It could be the year of problem solving in terms of moving. Are you planning to move anywhere? There could be some changes for sure in your living situation, in your schedule with Saturn return and with the 6th house year. I would look back at 17. So 2014 and 15, when you were 17, to see like what was happening in terms of home, family. Oh wow, okay. So you're saying I want to move to DC for law school. So yeah, it's gonna be like some kind of like, 6th house is connected to like working on things and committing to things and like overcoming hurdles and obstacles. And so going to law school, moving, like you're very much, I think, there's going to be steps you're going to have to take. And so it could be the year in which you're like setting yourself up for something. And so were you doing any kind of applications for school when you were 17? And could it be somewhat similar and maybe repeating some of those themes, right? Because at 17, most people are graduating high school and they're getting ready to start like higher education. So you're saying in 2014, 15, I was choosing my degree for my undergraduate. I chose political science and social justice. Right. So that's kind of fascinating because you're saying, yes, exactly. I didn't notice until now. Yeah, astrology has these 12-year cycles, and every 12 years we come back to the similar place. You have changed, your priorities have changed, but you're in a similar type of energy. You do have this beautiful exalted moon in Taurus, and your sun is in rulership, right? So you have like the sun in rulership, exalted moon. I think there is interesting and powerful opportunities for manifesting what you seek. But it's also the year in which you're likely going to have to do a lot of work. And so it might involve settling in a new place. It might involve applying for things, submitting documents, filling paperwork out, and things along those lines. Even, Saturn return is significant because your Saturn return is the time of like maturity and growing up and having to commit to something. Saturn usually stays in the sign for 2.5 years. And so it could be a sign that you're like committing for something that might take 2.5 years going forward. So, this is like some type of commitment, some type of heaviness of the mind as well. Saturn, you're saying this year has been such a massive shift already. My job has been a lot of work, also a huge shift in the relationship with my coworkers. Yeah, yeah, and that's probably going to continue with the sixth house annual perfection. Relationships with colleagues and coworkers can be coming up to your awareness a lot more. Venus is about to go into your ninth house between August 6th and September 10th. She's going to go retrograde later. So if you were to, start looking, start applying for things, I would try to do it before Venus enters her shadow. So between August 6th and 31st. And when she enters her shadow on the 31st, things you do, the applications you send, be ready that you may need to kind of have to revisit them. Yeah, like anything that's connected to moving, anything that's connected to like education, applications, things like that, I think Venus can be helpful in that domain. And the solar return definitely has strong energies in terms of like personal self-expression, with the ascendant pretty much literally matching your natal ascendant. I see it as a powerful year for personal development. Pluto is on your ascendant. That's another powerful indicator of like, you're stepping into your power. You may have to deal with some shadows along the way, some power struggles, some people maybe, doubting you or trying to like, I don't know, disencourage you and stuff. So yeah, like it is a good time for higher education, and it is a good time for personal projects and sort of personal development. And so I think the solar return confirms that. If you want to keep talking about it and diving into it more deeply, looking at the transits and putting everything together, check out the solar return reading options on my website. And do everyone consider studying with me. My Natal Astrology Blueprint of the Soul course begins on September 5th. Last 3 months, we meet twice a week. We have discussion sessions where we talk about everything. We have lectures where we discuss theory. So check out my website for that. And join me next week when I do another one of these lives. Kayla says, I'm learning about power struggles at work, talking behind my back, telling me I'm not good enough for a raise, etc. And you're saying, thank you, I will book a reading. Yeah. Pluto in the first can bring up a lot of shadows, and it can encourage you to figure out like which battles are worth fighting and which battles are really just a waste of your time and energy. And really, you just don't need to even bother with those people. And I look forward to doing your reading, Kayla. I hope to see you in person during a live consultation. Thank you, everyone who joined me today and booked the reading and supported me. Thank you for watching my videos and being here. If you're new, welcome. If you keep coming back, I appreciate all of you. And thank you so much, again, everyone who donated and supported my work. I hope you enjoy the rest of your morning, day, evening. And I'll see you soon. You're welcome. Bye. Bye.